Which 529 plans are at the head of the class? Morningstar recently analyzed dozens of options. Here now with the best of the brightest and some plans that may not make the grade. Laura Lutton, she's Morningstar's Director of Fund to Funds Research. Laura, before we get into the list of the ones that are the best ones to invest in and not so good to invest in, let's just start with the question of how do you choose a 529 plan? There are lots of them. They're complicated of what you can and cannot do with particular funds. How do you get started on this?
Well, I think a great place to get started is looking at your own state's plans and seeing if whether there are state tax benefits that you can take advantage of if you stay local. So that would be the first step. And then after that, you really just need to decide what kinds of investments do you want. Do you want to manage these yourself and go into broad indexes, or are you working with a financial planner or advisor who's going to direct you to match your savings with other investments that you might have as well?
So, Laura, I'm sensing here, and I want to get to the list of the winners and the sinners here. I'm sensing here that if I get a tax benefit, a tax deduction in my state, that you give that very heavy weight, maybe even above the expenses of the plan or its performance.
Yeah, we found that those state tax benefits or other benefits from the state can make up for a lot of ills like higher expenses or maybe some investments that are solid but that we're not totally crazy about.
Okay, now you've listed some of the ones that you get gold ratings from the Morningstar analysts, and everybody knows Morningstar. You do your homework. Tell me which ones they are. We're going to put them up on the screen, and tell me why these stood out.
Well, I think what all of those plans have in common is they have very strong investment options at a reasonable cost. So these are ones that we have a lot of confidence in their ability to outperform on a risk-adjusted basis over a full market cycle or the life of your 529 investment.
This is based in part on their past performance and what they own. And I can, if I live in Maryland but I want to go to the Alaska plan, I can. Let's transition now to the ones that are at the bottom of the class. Why didn't they make the grade?
Well, in some cases, we had some concerns about the investments in the plan, and in other cases, we thought they were just too expensive. We've found in our research time and time again that the less you pay for an investment, the more likely you are to outperform over the long term.
All right, Laura, let me ask you this that Sharon Epperson brought up in her report. Why not just go put your money in a mutual fund where you have a lot more flexibility? Surely you don't get that tax benefit, but why not just go with a mutual fund?
Well, I think the tax benefit is really important, particularly if we see nice gains in the stock market over the life of your investment. I mean, being able to take those out tax-free to offset your college expenses, I think, is really significant and gives this an advantage over a standard mutual fund.
Why are the expenses in most of the 529 categories higher than they are in comparable mutual funds?
I think because this industry is relatively small compared to the billions and billions that we see in the mutual fund world. So it's just, I think as the 529 industry gets larger, we'll see expenses continue to come down and be more competitive.
Laura, we just have a few seconds left. Real quickly, what's the biggest mistake that families make when they're choosing, and what's your best advice?
Well, I think leaving those state tax benefits behind is something I'd really think twice about. And then, just being aware of your own tolerance for risk, because you've got market exposure in a lot of these and got to be prepared for that.
All right, Laura, thank you so much. Laura Lutton from Morningstar.